Hi, it's Mark Donegan here with the Marketing Execution Podcast. Most CEOs treat employee happiness as an expense line. The data tells a different story. Companies that get culture right see 60% better returns on stated strategic goals. The problem is, almost every workplace happiness program fails. I've watched it happen across 20 years of advising B2B companies. Now, here's my conversation with Tim on what actually works.
Tune in, listen up, it's marketing time. Bright ideas sparking, blowing your mind. From strategies to big exec dreams, catch the buzz and join the execution. Marketing Convo.
Welcome to the Marketing Execution Podcast. This is the show for tech founders and leaders building B2B products and technologies. We show you how to go further, faster to get the business results you need.
From strategies to big exec dreams, catch the buzz and join the execution. Marketing Convo.
Mark, I've been sitting with something that honestly caught me off guard this week. You know how we always talk about customer experience, marketing funnels, all that good stuff? Well, I came across this interview with Webb, and he basically said that employee happiness is the marketing strategy. Like, not a nice to have, the foundation.
Oh, I love this topic. And yeah, Tim, he's absolutely right. Look, I've seen this play out so many times. Companies pour millions into their marketing budget. They hire agencies. They optimize every little thing in their funnel. And then they wonder why growth stalls. And the answer is almost always the same. Their people are miserable.
But okay, help me understand this, because I think a lot of founders hear employee happiness and they think, oh, great, another expense, another thing I have to worry about.
And that's exactly the problem. That mindset is what kills companies. Here's what they don't realize. There's actually a direct correlation between your Glassdoor ratings and your Google reviews. I'm not making this up. The data shows it. Companies where employees love working, their customers love buying from them. It's not a coincidence.
Wait, so you're saying the internal experience literally shows up in the external brand perception?
100%. Think about it this way. Your marketing can only promise what your people deliver. If your team is checked out, burned out, or actively resentful, that energy transfers to every customer interaction, every support call, every sales meeting.
Okay, so what does this actually look like in practice? Because I feel like a lot of companies try to do the happiness thing and it just doesn't work.
Oh man, you're touching on something huge here. Webb calls his consulting firm an organizational hazmat team. You know why? Because he's constantly cleaning up after failed quality of work-life initiatives. Companies do the rah-rah kickoff. They buy foosball tables. They have bagel Fridays, and then nothing changes.
So what are they getting wrong?
The number one mistake? They treat it like a checkbox. They had a board meeting. Someone said, hey, our Glassdoor numbers are tanking, and they launched this initiative from a place of desperation instead of inspiration. And employees can smell that from a mile away.
They can totally smell the BS, right?
Exactly. Yes. Employees are incredibly good at detecting when something is performative versus genuine. And here's the thing we talk about all the time on the Marketing Execution Podcast. Authenticity matters. It matters in your brand messaging, and it matters even more in how you treat your people.
So if foosball tables don't work, what does?
Okay, so Webb lays out this formula, and it's actually pretty simple. 3 things. First, employees need to believe in your mission, and not just believe in it abstractly. They need to see the connective tissue between what they do every day and how it moves that mission forward.
So, like, meaning. They need meaning.
Exactly. Second, they need to see their job as part of their personal evolution. This is huge for younger workers, especially. They want to know, how does this role help me grow? What skills am I building? Where can I go from here?
And the third thing?
The mission needs to be in service of other people. When employees can connect their work to helping actual humans, that creates stickiness. That creates loyalty. That creates people who actually want to show up.
You know what this reminds me of? The whole thing about how the pyramids probably weren't built by slaves.
Oh, yeah. Webb actually mentions that. Recent archaeological evidence suggests those workers believed in the mission. It was spiritual for them. They weren't motivated by whips. They were motivated by purpose.
That's wild. Okay, but let me push back a little. How do you even know what your employees actually want? Because I've heard surveys are basically useless.
They are useless. Here's why. Employees assume IT is monitoring those anonymous surveys. They think Sally in Sector 9 is going to get flagged for saying her boss is terrible. So they give you sanitized answers that tell you nothing.
So what's the alternative?
Listening sessions, happiness hackathons. You get people in a room and you ask them directly, what do you hate about working here? And yes, it takes work to make them feel safe enough to be honest. But when they do open up, the insights are gold.
And usually the fixes are simple?
Often shockingly simple. I heard about one company that did this and found 47 real problems. Almost all of them were easy to fix. But nobody had ever asked. Nobody created the space for that conversation.
That's kind of heartbreaking, honestly.
It is. And here's what kills me. The ROI on this stuff is insane. We're talking 10 to 100x return on investment. Companies that do collaborative ideation with happy employees get 60% better returns on their stated goals. 60%.
Okay, so for a founder listening right now who's thinking, all right, I'm convinced, where do I even start?
Start by asking one question. Get your team together and ask, what do you hate about working here? That's it. That simple question opens everything up. It's brave, it's vulnerable, and it signals that you actually care about making things better.
Mark, that's fascinating. Let's talk about what this means for a founder who's still in the early days, maybe 5 or 10 employees, and they want to build this into their culture from the ground up.
You know what, Tim? That question right there is probably the most important one we could ask. Because here's the thing most founders get wrong. They think culture is something you add later, like it's a feature you bolt on once you've got product market fit.
Yeah, like once we hit $1 million in ARR, then we'll worry about the people stuff.
Exactly. And that's completely backwards. I mean, think about what we just talked about. The correlation between Glassdoor ratings and Google reviews. That connection between employee experience and customer experience. That doesn't magically appear at scale. It's either baked in from day one or it's not.
So you're saying the DNA gets set early.
So early, like embarrassingly early. I know of a company that grew to about 50 employees before the founder realized they had a toxic culture problem. And you know what he told me? He said, Mark, I can trace every single issue back to decisions I made when we were just 3 people in a garage.
Wait, really? That specific?
That specific. The way he handled conflict, the way he communicated priorities, the shortcuts he took because he was moving fast. All of it compounded. And by the time it became visible, it was like trying to change the foundation of a house while people are living in it.
Okay, so that's terrifying, but also kind of liberating for the early stage founder, right? Because if you're still small, you have this window.
You have a massive window. And here's what makes it matter so much. When you're 5 or 10 people, every single hire is a culture decision. Every single one. You're not just filling a role, you're choosing who gets to shape what this thing becomes.
And those early people, they become the template.
They become the standard. They're the ones who train the next wave. They're the ones who model what good looks like. If your first 5 hires are miserable, checked out, or just there for a paycheck, that energy spreads. It's contagious.
But the flip side is also true, right?
100%. If those early people genuinely believe in what you're building, if they feel ownership, if they're growing alongside the company, that also spreads. And suddenly you've got this flywheel where great people attract great people.
Okay, I want to dig into something you said earlier about employees needing to see the connective tissue between their work and the mission. How does a founder actually create that when they're still figuring out the mission themselves?
Oh man, that's the honest reality, isn't it? Most early-stage founders are pivoting every 6 weeks. The mission is a moving target.
Right, so how do you build belief in something that keeps changing?
Here's what I've seen work. You don't need a perfect mission statement carved in stone. What you need is radical transparency about the why behind what you're doing right now. Even if the what changes, the why can stay consistent.
Give me an example.
Okay, so let's say you're building a SaaS tool for small businesses. Maybe you started with invoicing, then you pivoted to inventory. Now you're thinking about payments. The product keeps shifting, but the why might be, we believe small business owners deserve the same tools that big companies have. That why doesn't change. And if your team is connected to that, they can ride the pivots with you.
Because they're not attached to the specific feature. They're attached to the problem you're solving.
Exactly. And this is where so many founders mess up. They hire for skills but forget to sell the vision. They bring someone on to write code or run ads, and they never actually invite them into the story.
It's transactional from the start.
And then they wonder why that person leaves for a 10% raise 6 months later.
I've seen that movie before.
We all have. But here's the thing that really matters for founders listening right now. This isn't about being soft. This isn't about being nice for the sake of being nice. This is about building a competitive advantage that your competitors literally cannot copy.
Say more about that.
Think about it. Your competitor can copy your features. They can undercut your pricing. They can outspend you on ads. But they cannot copy a team of people who genuinely love showing up every day. They cannot replicate the energy that comes from a group of humans who believe they're building something that matters.
That's the moat.
That is the moat, and it shows up everywhere. It shows up in how your support team handles a frustrated customer at 11 p.m. It shows up in whether your engineer goes the extra mile on a feature nobody asked for but users will love. It shows up in the way your salespeople talk about the product when the prospect's not even in the room.
You can't fake that.
You absolutely cannot fake it. And customers can tell. They might not be able to articulate it, but they feel the difference between a company where people are just going through the motions versus a company where people actually care.
Okay, so we've been talking about why this matters. The early culture decisions compound. The mission connection creates retention. Happy employees become your competitive moat. But I know our listeners are already asking the practical question.
How do I actually do this?
Exactly. So let's take a quick breath here, and when we come back, I want to get into the specific playbook. Like, what does a founder do on Monday morning to start building this into their company from the ground up?
Okay, so first thing, before you do anything else, you gotta stop guessing what your people want. Most founders assume they know. They don't.
Right. You mentioned surveys don't work. So what does?
Listening sessions, real conversations, happiness hackathons. You get your team in a room and you ask one simple question.
Which is?
What do you hate about working here?
That's bold.
It's terrifying for most founders, but here's why it works. When you ask what people hate, you get real answers, not the polished stuff they put in surveys because they think IT is watching.
And they probably are watching, let's be honest.
Probably. But look, I worked with a company that did this. 47 issues came up. 47! And you know what? Almost all of them were easy fixes.
Like, what kind of stuff?
Parking, outdated software, unclear promotion paths. Nobody had ever asked, so nobody knew these problems existed at the leadership level.
That's wild. So, step one is just ask the uncomfortable question.
Exactly. But here's the key. You gotta make it safe. You literally have to say out loud, nobody's getting in trouble for being honest here.
And then you actually have to mean it.
You have to mean it. Because if someone speaks up and then gets punished, game over. Trust is gone forever.
Okay, so we've got step one, ask what people hate, create safety. What's next?
Step 2 is building what I call a personal growth plan for every single person. And I mean every person.
Wait, even at like 5 employees?
Especially at 5 employees. This is when it's easiest. You sit down with each person and ask, what do you want out of this job? Where do you see yourself going?
Some people might say they want to leave eventually.
Good. That's honest. And here's the thing. If you help them grow toward their goals, even if those goals take them somewhere else, they'll give you their best work while they're with you.
That seems counterintuitive. Help them leave?
Think about In-N-Out Burger. They show every employee a clear path to management. Managers there can make serious money, more than some lawyers. That pathway keeps people engaged.
Because they can see the future.
They can see their future inside the company. That's the difference. It's not abstract career growth, it's specific to them.
So you're mapping out individual journeys.
Individual journeys, not team journeys, not company journeys. Each human gets their own map.
That sounds like a lot of work for a founder who's already drowning.
It's a 30-minute conversation per person, maybe once a quarter. Compare that to the cost of replacing someone who quits because they felt invisible.
Fair point. Recruiting is expensive.
Recruiting is brutal right now. There's no shortage of unemployed people, but there's a massive shortage of talented people. And talented people are already working somewhere else.
So you got to give them a reason to stay, or a reason to join you in the first place.
Which brings me to step 3. Your Glassdoor rating matters more than you think.
Really? Glassdoor?
96% of potential employees check Glassdoor before applying. 96. If your rating is garbage, the best people never even reach out.
They filter you out before you know they exist.
Exactly. And here's what's wild. There's a direct connection between Glassdoor ratings and Google reviews. Happy employees create happy customers. It shows up in the data.
So fixing internal culture actually fixes external perception.
It's all connected. Think about Dutch Brothers Coffee. You pull up to the window and they remember your name from 3 months ago. They're singing, they're energized. Why?
Because they actually like being there.
They love being there. And customers feel that. There's a Starbucks right across the street with no line. Dutch Brothers has cops directing traffic.
The coffee's basically the same.
The coffee is basically the same. The difference is the human energy, and that comes from culture.
Okay, so we've got 3 steps. Ask what people hate, build personal growth plans, care about your reputation as an employer.
And there's one more thing. You got to design the employee journey just like you design the customer journey.
Break that down for me.
5 touch points. Pre-touch is when they're researching you before applying. First touch is the interview and onboarding. Core touch is the daily experience of working there. Last touch is when they leave. And end touch is staying connected after.
Most companies only think about the middle part.
Most companies barely think about that. But look, 80% of someone's opinion about your company forms in that first touch moment. The interview, the first week.
And most onboarding is just, here's your desk, figure it out.
It's tragic. That first week should be memorable, celebratory, something they want to tell their friends about.
What about when someone leaves? That's usually awkward at best.
It doesn't have to be. I've seen companies offer training to departing employees, help them build skills for their next role, even when they're letting someone go.
That seems almost too generous.
Is it? That person is going to talk about you. They're going to leave a Glassdoor review. They might refer future candidates. The exit experience shapes all of that.
So you're playing the long game.
Always the long game. And here's the bottom line for founders listening right now. Everything you want to accomplish in your business is people-powered.
Marketing, sales, product, support.
All of it. You can have the best strategy in the world. If your people are miserable, it falls apart. But if they believe in what you're building, if they feel ownership, you become unstoppable.
The moat that can't be copied.
The moat that cannot be copied. Your competitors can steal your features. They can undercut your price. They can outspend you on ads. But they cannot replicate a team that genuinely loves showing up every day.
Mark, we've covered so much ground today, from why this matters in the early days, to the connection between employee happiness and customer experience, to the actual steps founders can take starting Monday morning. Can you bring it all together for us?
All right, let me pull this together. We started by talking about something that sounds soft, but is actually strategic. Employee happiness is not a perk. It is your marketing strategy. The data shows a direct link between how your people feel and how your customers perceive you. Your Glassdoor ratings predict your Google reviews. That is not a coincidence.
And we talked about why the early days matter so much.
Right. Culture gets baked in when you are still small. Your first 5 hires become the template for everyone who comes after. If you wait until you are 50 people to fix this stuff, you are basically renovating a house while people are living in it. Then we got practical. Ask your team what they hate. Build personal growth plans for every single person. Care about your reputation as an employer. And design the employee journey the same way you design the customer journey. Pre-touch, first touch, core touch, last touch, and end touch.
So Mark, after everything we covered today, what is the one thing you really hope people walk away remembering?
Here it is. Your business will never outperform the people inside it. You can have the best product, the smartest strategy, and unlimited funding. None of it matters if your team is just going through the motions. But when your people believe in what they are building, when they feel seen and challenged and growing, they become a force that no competitor can touch. That is not soft. That is your unfair advantage. The Marketing Execution Podcast is produced by Growth Stage Marketing. We are on a mission to see your company reach wild success using marketing pods.
Too big, accept dreams. Catch the buzz and join the execution. Marketing Convo.
Thank you for listening and being a part of the marketing execution movement and community. To learn how growth stage marketing clients reach more buyers and drive business impact, go to growthstage.marketing. That's growthstage.marketing.